So there was a series called Star Trek Next Generation, and in the very early days, there was a character in that played by the actor Will Wheaton called Wesley Crusher. He was the most annoying character in the entire series, and then he left, and then it got great. But there's one episode that stands out of that where the entire ship gets taken over by Riker. Damn you, Riker. I don't know. Riker used to just go off and do sexy things and then come back and bring like sexy women on board. And basically this sexy woman's like seduced Riker with this game. And Riker basically, about 6, 7, 8 years ago, there was a thing called Google Glass, which was basically glasses with like a little thing and it had like a computer in it. It was basically like foreshadowing that back in like the early 90s,
like sort of virtual reality thing, like an Oculus sort of headset.
Yeah, exactly, that kind of, this kind of thing, but basically a game. And it was so addictive that it basically brainwashed the entire crew of the Enterprise, apart from Will Wheaton, who basically said, no, I don't want to play it, and to the point where he disabled his glasses to pretend that he was playing it. The reason I hate this, and I think it's terrible, is that the graphics weren't great. And it was basically like put like a ball thing in like a black hole, but it looked crap and it was rubbish. And it was like, why is everybody obsessed with this? Then I was thinking about like the past, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, and thinking about Candy Crush Saga and like all the rubbish kind of games that people waste hours and hours and hours of their lives playing. And I'm like, yeah, I can kind of see how it thing, but it's still terrible. It's the worst possible, like, base instinct. Put a thing in a thing and everybody's obsessed. And I hate it. I hate it so much.
I think my argument for like Quidditch was based around I'm not much of a fan of the allegory for it being like privilege and success based on things that are given down to you rather than things that you've earned. Whereas the allegory for this, like you say, actually seems pretty clear and actually pretty pertinent. Back when that was sort of aired in the 90s, I guess, sort of foreshadowing the sort of addictive nature of computer games, I mean, they were pretty addictive back in the day, back in the 90s, no doubt. But they are a hell of a lot more now. So I would argue that even though the game itself sounds awful. So let me just get this straight. You put the headset on and you see a virtual, really crap graphics and you put the ball in the hole.
That's basically the game, yeah.
It sounds a bit like Pokemon. That's a sort of virtual things that you collect and pick up and put in. That's how the Pokemon thing works, isn't it?
You put
catch them all.
You got to put the Pokemon in the hole.
I don't know. Some of my colleagues. It sounds. I've never heard of this episode, or in fact this Star Trek thing. But some of my colleagues did this in a previous when the Pokemon thing took over. They were all walking around with their phones looking for Pokemons.
The graphics. I understand that was probably the best they could do back in like 1991, 1992, whenever this episode hit. I get that. It is genuinely, I hate it because it's the addictive nature of it. That's what I hate about it.
No, you don't. Because I know you, Luke. And I know that you get addicted to computer games more than the cast of the Next Generation. And I know that you've played too much Assassin's Creed when it came out, and you were like eyeing up like buildings around Newcastle thinking, I could climb to the top of that. No bother. I think the real reason why you don't like it is that you just did not like Wesley Crusher, and it was one of his sort of heroic sort of episodes of him being like goody two-shoes and like, I'm too good to get addicted to this stupid game, I'm going to save the Enterprise. That's why you don't like it.
He does get addicted. Get addicted in the end. I mean, he reactivates data, which obviously saves the day, but
Oh, well, that's my argument destroyed.
In reality, this is like really true that you could basically hypnotize an entire crew of highly trained, Starfleet officers with basically a put a ball in a hole thing.
All right. So I get into the crux of it is that the main reason you don't like this game is it isn't even a game at all. They put the headset on, they put a ball in a hole. It's not a game. It's just it's a complete 100% allegorical statement without any sort of substance behind it. So it's not even a real game, you know. So what's to like, I guess.
That is Candy Crush all over. It's not a game.
Yeah.
I just like the whole game, that whole like game industry, like loot boxes and pay to win and all that. Bring back Alex Kidd in Miracle Land, eh?
That's an example of a fictitious world that incorporates a real life sport into its bosses. And it is the sport of kings and of champions. In order to defeat the bosses, you don't jump on them, you don't activate a bomb, you don't collapse a bridge underneath them. Luke, how do you defeat a boss in Alex Kidd, not Alex the Kid, Alex Kidd in Miracle World?
You play stone, paper, scissors.
Oh yeah, you do. Stone, paper, scissors. Damn.
I didn't see what you chose. Did you win or did I?
No, we
Someone
both chose
call
scissors.
the ambulance, quick.
I still remember that theme tune. Okay, so cool. So we've got Quidditch and we've got Alex Kidd in Miracle World as our two options.